Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice? Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Do you hear my voice?
Now that's
Voices.
Welcome to Voices Podcast. I'm Reina Peterson here with Abraham Alvarado and our special guest, Dr. Lara, the Associate Dean of Student Success and Equity here at Mount San Antonio College. Dr. Lara oversees 3 equity programs, including ARISE, which is Asian American and Pacific Islander students, DREAM, undocumented students, and REACH, which includes current and former foster youth. And he is also the co-chair for the Student Equity Committee and the co-leader for the monthly mentor meetings. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I'm so excited that we could get you in because we really want to highlight different areas of the college and things that we offer our students because we're here to get the goods, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and we want to feel welcome. So I really want you to start off telling a bit about yourself and your role here at Mount Sac.
Absolutely. Just to add what you mentioned, thank you for the introduction. Recently, I also oversee El Centro, so the Center for Latinidad on campus for our Latinx community, the Center for Black Culture Student Success for Black African American students, and the First Peoples Native Center.
So you've added 3 more onto here too.
Correct.
Wow.
So 4 of those programs, FPNC, First Peoples Native Center, REACH Guardian Scholars, the ARISE program, and DREAM, all are in the Equity Center. CBCSS and El Centro are independent centers on campus.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. So how did you get involved with all of this?
So I have a somewhat of a unique background. My undergraduate degree is in electronics engineering from Cal Poly Pomona. And there's a backstory how I became an educator. I actually was affected by Cal State policy when I was a freshman. I was kicked out of college.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't, I didn't pass basic skills algebra or basic skills math within 2 quarters. And because of that policy, I was academically disqualified from the university.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, you're on this path and now you're over here. So that
Yeah.
is 2 very different things, but I guess it's
So
working.
yeah, so with that, I quickly realized that I was just a number in the university system. They didn't care about me as an individual. They didn't care about me as a student. I was just a number that got kicked out. When I tried to petition to come back in, they said no, had to fight my way back in. And at that point, I realized they didn't really care about me as the human. They cared more about just bringing in that next student in, that next number in. And that really changed my mindset as far as what is higher ed, what is education, specifically for somebody like me, first generation, low income, Mexican descent. So it really kind of changed my perspective of the university.
Right.
And while I was there, I ended up getting back in. I got back into Cal Poly, studied engineering, but I took a part-time job as a math tutor. Funny enough, I failed math and then became a math tutor.
And then you're a math tutor.
And that really changed what I want to do. So I worked at West Covina High School as a math tutor through a program at Cal Poly. And I realized that I was an AVID tutor. I realized that the students in AVID, typically the 2.5 to 3.0 students, typically first generation students, they were not getting the support that maybe they should have. It was typically the 3.5 and above students were seeing the academic counselors to get ready for university. It was the students below 2.5 that were seeing the counselors because they were getting close to academic probation, but those in the middle weren't getting the support. And when I was there, they would ask me about Cal Poly, ask me about engineering, I'd bring my projects, and it just changed my life as far as this is what I want to do.
Wow.
So I ran to my counselor at Cal Poly. I said, I'm going to change my major to become an educator, a counselor. And she told me, there's absolutely no way I'm going to allow you to do that.
So the students actually really kind of helped you pursue this passion.
They did.
Yeah, they kind of sparked it for you.
They did. It was the students that changed my trajectory.
Oh my gosh.
But my counselor said, all you've ever talked about is engineering. You're going to finish. You're going to graduate.
So get your degree.
Get your degree.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me the best advice. And that was, with the degree in engineering, you can always be an educator later. With a degree in education or a degree that's going to make you an educator, you can never go and be an engineer.
Wow. So that really spoke to you. That's amazing.
It did. So I graduated, worked as an engineer for 2 years. I had fun, but I didn't love it. I wasn't waking up every day excited to go to work. and I received an opportunity to become an educator 2 years later, to go back to Cal Poly and work there as their retention coordinator for their minority engineering program at the time.
Oh.
And I jumped at the opportunity. I took it. 18 years later, there's not a day that I regret. I love what I do. I wake up happy. I come to work happy every job I've had, including here. And that, in a quick nutshell, is
Wow.
what got me here.
I can really feel your passion for it, to be honest with you. And that's really exciting because that passion is going into the different programs that we have
Absolutely.
here on campus, which I really want to know more about. I want to know about the community, the type of activities you hold for the
Absolutely.
different events, because these are, I'm going to call them like cool clubs, right?
Yeah.
With people who are like you, who have the same upbringing as
Yes.
you and the same background, who can relate. So instead of you feeling alone, like you had no support,
Right.
you offer that support.
Yes.
So yeah, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so at Mount SAC, we've, so as I mentioned, we have 4 programs within the Equity Center. So here, Building 16E, and that's been open for just over 3.5 years now. But before that, we had independent programs. Our Reach Foster Youth program started about 8 years ago. Our Rise and a PZ program for Asian Pacific Islander students started about 12 years ago. The Center for Black Culture Student Success, Emoji Aspire, it's been around for over 10 years, but they were independent. They were kind of doing their own thing individually. In 2016, when I started...
By that, do you mean that they're off campus or they were still on
No, they're
campus?
on campus, but they weren't centralized under kind of one roof, under one house.
Okay.
And when I started in 2016, I was the first Associate Dean of Equity on the campus, and that's really when we brought all these programs together. Kind of brought them under one individual, kind of one structure. So that's where that started. And the programs, while they are identity-based programs, program for documented students, for Latinx students, for Black students, for foster youth, we really operate in one central location where we're offering similar services to everybody, but they're tailored for that race or identity. So it brings that culture, brings that familial affair to the programming and to the students. The staff that you see, the directors, the counselors, the program specialists, the coordinators, typically are like the students. So the students see themselves in these professionals that have their degrees. So something to aspire to, something to motivate. We all have a story coming up in our education, where we grew up, so we can relate, and they can relate to us.
Right.
Yeah.
You said that you were Mexican descent, right? First generation?
Yes.
How was that like going into college? Was it a scary thing for you to
It
like
was.
go
So
in?
first gen. So I grew up in La Puente, so right down the street. Single parent households. I grew up in apartments my whole life. I grew up on welfare, on food stamps.
Section 8, baby.
Yes, Section 8. I took the bus to school, the 480. So for me, I knew that college was the way out of apartments, was the way out of food stamps, was the way out of welfare. So I always knew that, even though my mom, all she wanted was for me to graduate high school. That was her goal, that she knew she could do that much. And going to college was something that I knew I needed to do for myself and for my family. I knew that would change the trajectory of the family. When I got to Cal Poly, I remember I wasn't the best student in high school. The only AP class I took was AP Spanish. I got to Algebra 2 as a senior. And I remember when I got to Cal Poly, my first couple of weeks, I was walking the campus. And if you've been to Cal Poly Pomona, there's this big grassy area. And I remember seeing students sitting on the grass, kind of sitting by the trees, and they were reading and they were studying. And to me, that was foreign. So I was walking around thinking, what are they doing?
Who would do that on a random Tuesday?
Who would study on campus? That wasn't me in high school. That was
Right.
not who I was. So that was a shock. And I think one of the reasons I was kicked out, one of the reasons I didn't pass these math classes, was I was overconfident. To me, math was easy. I loved math. I wanted to be an engineer. I didn't have to study as much, and I never took it seriously. So as being first generation, being Latino, I didn't have that familial support. I didn't have that cultural, social capital. My mom had no idea what I was doing in college. She didn't understand why I was taking only 3 classes, why I was only going to school 3 days a week. So she didn't understand that, but also didn't understand how to support and how to motivate, how to ask questions. So that is what we do here, kind of bringing it back is what we do in our programs, in our support programs.
Yeah.
We support, we ask questions, we provide identity. We bring this holistic approach to education.
Well, if you think about the way that people grow in like psychology, the people who make it are the ones who have that support. Without it,
Yes.
those are those cracks that you fall through.
Yes.
So the fact that you're supplying the support for so many students on campus, it's really a blessing. Have you seen a lot of students like come back and like, I don't know what I would do without this?
Oh,
Like, have you
absolutely.
gotten a lot of verbal response like that?
Absolutely. The best time of year is commencement, right? When we see these students graduate, we see
Oh
the
my gosh.
families.
I did the Latinx one last year,
Yes.
and I cried on stage. It was so emotional because, and not only that, the support that it all brought together for that community. It's like we made it.
Yeah.
We did it together.
Well,
And
it wasn't just you.
Yeah,
It was the family. It was the community.
Yeah.
We made it, not I.
we
right?
made
Exactly.
it. Yes, exactly. And it was such a powerful feeling.
Yeah, so we get those stories. We see commencement. We do the individual celebrations, as you mentioned. We have individual celebrations. So we get those stories. We get the students who thank us. We get the students who say, I don't know where I would be without the Arise program, without the Dream program. And the best part is that they bring their friends, right? They see the support. They see the love. They see that we do care. We follow up. If they're not doing well in class, we check grades after every semester. So we know, and we'll send them an email, we'll send them a letter saying, oh, we checked your grades. We see that you've passed or not passed X number of classes. Everything okay. We have counselors, we have advisors. Please come back in.
Oh my gosh.
So
that means a lot to show someone cares.
Right. So
Someone's
we're
watching.
We're watching.
And we
exactly.
want you to succeed. So that's amazing. Wow,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
What would you tell like students who are like nervous? Because like for me, I'm Mexican descent, I'm first generation college, but I don't feel like I'd fit into the boxes for the social clubs that go around here. So how would you convince a student to like push themselves to entering one of these programs?
Yeah, well, we have student clubs. We have the support programs that I oversee. We have other support-based programs like EOP or the Bridge program. So what I would say is try to find your niche. It doesn't have to be for you, for example. It doesn't have to be El Centro. You may find support in the Arise program. You may find support in the Center for Black Culture Student Success, right? So find that niche. Or it may not be a support program. It may be a student club that you kind of find that niche. So we have many support programs from 20 plus tutoring centers on campus. We have the STEM Center. We have the library. We have the WIN program for athletics, right? So there's going to be something for you here that you're going to kind of gravitate to. So my recommendation is to try to find that. Talk to a colleague, talk to a friend, a classmate. What are you involved in? What are you doing? And just show up. Show up once. Don't just close a door without showing up. Go to one event, and if it doesn't fit you, fine. At least you went to that one event.
Yeah.
And then try to find another spot. But there are plenty of support programs, identity-based programs for everyone on this campus.
And you guys do host a lot of events.
We do.
You do. You have a lot of like social luncheons, come in and snack and chat with people, play
Yes.
games. You have board games and stuff, a cool
Yes.
little chill out center down there. I'm pretty sure you even have a full kitchen. Just saying, because I only got a microwave in here. Just what I've noticed
There's
when
the
I
mini
went.
fridge in here too.
Yes,
it's
the
not
mini
just
fridge.
a
You're right.
microwave.
You're right, Abraham. I'll give you that. But no, besides community, like it is a nice little hangout area for everyone too.
It is.
right?
So in the Equity Center, but also in El Centro and the Center for Black Culture and Success, we do have
Where is this? It's in the library, by the library, right?
the Center for Black Culture is in the south side of the library
Okay.
on the first floor.
Yes.
El Centro is in 9E on the second floor.
Okay.
So that's where we're located. But we do have study areas. We have hangout areas. We have quiet study in each of these centers. We provide free snacks. So you were mentioning the food. So
Everyone
we do have free
loves
food.
a good snack.
We have gender neutral restrooms. We have computer labs with free printing. We have charging stations for your cell phones and laptops. We also provide tutoring. So we partner with the Writing Center, with Mark, Team Mark, WIN, et cetera, to bring in math and English tutors and writing tutors. We have faculty who do office hours in the centers from all different areas of campus. And we also have social workers, so which we now call case managers. So we provide this holistic approach to the students to provide any off-campus support that we may not have on campus.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, we have a new basic needs center on campus for food insecure or home insecure students, but there's only so much we can do on campus. So these case managers provide that additional assistance to find that connection off campus. So all of those services are free. They're found at every one of our centers within the equity programs.
That is so cool. I love that. I love that. So we did get to see a little more of like your passion and what started this for you. But when you were going through your education, did you have these type of programs available? Because these ones have only been around for about a decade, you said, right?
At Mount SAC, yes.
Yeah, at Mount SAC.
So as an undergrad, I was part of the EOP program, which is an educational opportunity program. So that is geared towards low-income first-generation college students. And that is the one program I was connected to as an incoming freshman and then throughout my 5 years at Cal Poly. So they provided also free tutoring. They provided an academic advisor that you had to meet as part of the requirements twice a semester or twice a quarter back then. And it was a place where I knew I can go at any time. They had a quiet study area, they kind of a hangout area. So in between classes, or if I needed to talk to somebody, get some help, academic help, tutoring, I knew I can go there. So that was my one spot on campus that I knew I can go to. Without them, I don't know, you mentioned, right, I don't feel connected, or I may not feel connected. I don't know if I would have felt connected. I wasn't part of MECHA at Cal Poly. I wasn't part of their El Centro, their Cesar Chavez Center. I wasn't part of that. I didn't feel connected either, but I had EOP. I had Becky Cutler as my advisor. I had Mr. Norfleet as the director who supported all of us. So, I also had these mentors and these individuals I looked up to, but I knew that I can go there. And I would always be welcomed. And I feel that that's what we have here, or at least what we try to implement, right?
Yeah.
We try to have that welcome feeling for our students. And not everybody that comes or everybody that signs up stays or continues, and that's okay. At least it came once. But we do try to bring that connection, that love, that support to these students on the campus.
Do you find it hard to not spread yourself too thin and still be present with all the students? Because I remember you said that was one of your main things, was that connection that you had with them back after, college.
Yes.
So do you still have that one-on-one time? Do you have that moment?
I don't. I don't have the one-on-one time
Oh.
anymore. I know. When I was coming up in my career as a coordinator, as a director, I did. My offices were always in the center with the students day to day. Now, even though my office is in the center, I'm in the back corner, kind of away from the day to day. But what I tell my team and what I tell those in the equity centers, I want to hear noise. I don't want this to be a quiet study. I don't want this to be, come in and it sounds like the library.
Right.
I want there to be noise. So if you walk into the equity center, you'll have people playing the guitar, watching movies, playing music, playing board games, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I love being able to sit in my office doing work and hear students engaging.
Well, the camaraderie of college, I think, is something we've actually lost because we're all on our cell phones. If you look back at a college campus in the 70s, if you look at videos, you will see everyone's in the grass, like you were mentioning. They're reading books, they're playing football,
Right.
they're
out.
actually hanging out.
Yes.
We don't do that.
No.
You can't even walk past someone 5 feet away. So the fact that you have these areas, I like to think that for the radio station here too. We have this area, a safe space for you to come, be you,
Right.
and, enjoy college and connect with people because that is what our goal is here. So that's
And
great.
I think you said it perfectly, is be you. Be independent, be yourself, whatever that may be, however you may define that for yourself, that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that within the center. But as you mentioned, we have Kerr's Corner on this campus, a big grassy area in front of the library. We can walk there right now. We can walk there on Tuesday afternoon. You're not going to see students,
No.
as you mentioned, right?
Yes. And it's a beautiful spring day out there today too. But do you have another question you'd like to ask, Abraham?
You said you originally went to college for mathematical engineering or
For electronics engineering.
electronic. So was it a big lifestyle change when you swapped completely to being a tutor, or did you feel like it never really changed that much?
Well, luckily I was tutoring math, so it was in the same realm of my degree. And that was the fun part, was that what I was tutoring, what I was teaching these students, helping these students with, was anywhere from pre-algebra up to calculus 1. And that's what I was helping with at the high school. So it was in the same vein of what I was studying. And when I left engineering as a profession, I became the coordinator for the minority engineering program. So I stayed working with engineering students. From there, I went on to UC San Diego to be the director of electrical engineering, the director of student affairs for electrical engineering. So I continued to work in STEM education, engineering education, helping those students, undergrad and grad students.
So it all still kind of flowed together.
It did. So and it was
Slowly.
intentional.
Yeah.
If I was going to leave engineering, if I was going to leave what I was studying, what my love was, math, physics, it needed to still be connected in some way.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to leave to not do that kind of work. I had the support from EOP, from Becky, my advisor. So I knew if I was going to leave this engineering profession, I'm going to go back and give back to my community. I'm going to give back to those that look like me and were me. So I went to Cal Poly. So I went to work at Cal Poly. It was with the minority engineering program. It was for first-gen low-income engineering students. So that was intentional. I went to UC San Diego, which is a very different population, a research institution, but it was within engineering still, electrical engineering specifically. And then from there moved to College of the Canyons, community college up in Valencia, to be the director of their MESA program, Mathematics, Engineering, Science and Treatment program. So again, my first three careers, my first three jobs in higher ed, all revolved around STEM education, engineering education, first-gen education, and then went on to get a master's in education with my thesis being on engineering labs, manufacturing engineering labs, and converting them to hybrid. So again, focused my study, my research on STEM education.
This is all very intentional.
Very intentional. My doctoral dissertation went to USC for my doctorate degree in educational leadership, was on the retention of Latino engineering students from years 1 to 3 at the four-year university. So being very intentional again is to focus and study on how to support all students, but in my dissertation, Latino engineering students, again, bringing it back to my roots, who I was, who I want to help and support. And this is the first job I've had that I left the STEM realm, the STEM field. But this is an equity-based position. So with that, I'm supporting all students on this college campus. Some are engineering, some are not. But at the end of the day, they're all based off of an identity group. And that's where my passion lies, is to help them succeed, to see it could be an associate's, it could be a certificate, it could be coming back to school, it could be transferring to a 4-year, whatever the educational goal is, we're going to help you get there.
Yeah, I love the progression of the passion on that. I was doing a career day at an elementary school yesterday, and I wanted to emphasize to the kids, I'm like, find what you love. And then let things come to you, because you don't know what your path is going to lead to. You had no idea this is where you were going to be one day either. I hear this story time and time again. What you start out with is really kind of just a base for you to build upon. So like my radio career, I don't expect this to be it. It's like this is the base, and everything else that comes in after, it's going to be a building stone to who you're going to be one day. And you have turned in to the dean, the associate dean of equity here at Mount San Antonio College. Now, is this the first role you had on this campus?
It is. I've been here coming up on 8 years. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm the first associate dean of equity on the campus. This is the first role coming in, and I've had it ever since.
Heck yes. You're like, it's mine now. Yeah.
It's working with all the different schools. Mount Sac's your favorite, right?
Mount Sac's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, of course.
And the beautiful new campus is just growing too. So I do want to know, what are you wanting to see? What kind of vision do you have for all of these groups?
Yeah, well, for the groups, growth.
More numbers.
We're limited, more students, more numbers. Mount Sac is huge. We have over 30,000 credit students, and when you include non-credit, we have over 60,000 students on our campus. We want growth, but we can't get there yet because of obviously budgets and space and size. We need to grow personnel first and budget before we can grow numbers. But we will take any student that comes in and get as big as we can with the services that we have. And we're not there yet. We're always growing. The fortunate thing is that we do graduate our students and transfer them, so we have room for new students to come in year after year. But what I want to see is, for my position, I've been asked before, like, well, where do you see your position going in the future? What do you see yourself as an associate dean of equity? And in reality, what I see is, the ideal world is that my position doesn't exist. Why do we need to have an associate dean of equity?
It should just be natural, right?
It should just be students are students, and they're here to learn, and they're going to get the same services across the board, no matter who they are, no matter what the background, no matter If they're first gen, not first gen, low income, not low income, why do we need these positions? And they've been here for decades.
That's a beautiful and honest answer.
Will we ever get there? Who knows?
Who knows?
But we're working towards it.
Yeah. So I want to know, for students who want to get involved in this type of career, like if they want to be you one day, or
Yes.
even just be involved in the groups, like you said, you need more people, you need more hands.
We do.
If people need a degree in this or like intention, what type of paths would they should they take?
I don't honestly believe the degree matters too much as far as the undergrad. It's the experience. As an undergrad, work in student services. Be a student worker, come and be a mentor, come and volunteer hours at our events. But to kind of move up in the career, a master's in education, a master's in counseling, social services type of role. I get asked all the time, why do I need a doctorate to get in? And the answer is no. It helps, go as far as you can in education, but that is not the requirement. But any type of social services degree would help you. My degree is in engineering, and here I am. But it really comes down to experience. It is getting your foot in the door, being a student worker, being a program specialist, and learning and understanding what is it to run an equity-based or identity-based program, putting on services and events and workshops. And just having a love and passion for helping students succeed. Yeah. And that's what we look for. The degree, sure, you have it, check. But do you have that love and passion and dedication to help these students succeed? And that's what we want to see.
I feel like it would be so rewarding at the end, like when you said when the ceremonies happen, and
absolutely.
all the students, especially the ones who start from when they first come, and they're like, "Hey, I want to be a part of this," and you get to watch their growth. You've been here for 8 years. I'm sure you've seen this over and over again.
Yes.
Does it still bring a tear to your eye?
Absolutely.
I'd get choked up every time. Get the tissues.
Yes. The first day of school in the fall and commencement, my 2 favorite days of the year.
Wow.
I love it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really great. I love what you're doing here on campus, and the passion that you have when overseeing it too. Because if you have someone who doesn't care up there, nothing good's gonna happen.
Correct.
So
absolutely,
it's good to have a man like you on top.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there any other questions you'd like to ask?
I don't think I have any more.
I'm
really
feeling pretty
enjoyed
good.
the conversation that we were having. That was very educational.
Is there anything else you want to highlight?
I don't think so at the moment. Not that I could think of.
Thank you, Dr. Lara.
Thank
it was
you.
absolutely amazing having you in here. I want to
Appreciate
go and take a look around down at the area some more, down on the south side of the library, right?
For the Center for Black Culture Student Success.
And then on the top floor.
On the top floor, on 9E, second floor, is El Centro. And then building 16E, right on the center of campus, is the Equity Center.
Okay, so I do have to go to 16E for the whole center.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
I will find it. This is good. This is good. I'll get lost first.
It's a big campus. Good luck.
There's maps.
There are.
Anyways, thank you, Dr. Lara. We'll see you
so
again
much.
soon.
Well, I appreciate it.
This episode of Mount Sac Voices was written and produced by Reina Peterson, Abraham Alvarado, Jake Kingsbury, Aaron Golding, and Michael Patricio.
With executive producers, faculty, and staff advisors, Jason Schiff, Stillman Kelly, and KT Fort.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and guests,
and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Audio 8 Ball, 90.1 FM KSAK, Mount San Antonio College, or any affiliated bodies.